So if I told you a cop was watching my video right now, would you believe me? Subscribe right now or a cop will arrest you, because this story I'm about to tell you guys gets insane. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba and welcome back to a really embarrassing story. So this story all takes place last year. Last year was a really good time for the channel. I remember we had a lot of good content coming out, and honestly, we were streaming and making content here and there like it was nothing. But I won't lie to you, some of the stories I say on this channel get a little overboard. And there was one time where I remember I was just chilling at home, just doing my own thing and actually recording videos. And I remember as I was recording videos, I decided to go out for dinner because I was hungry. And usually at that time, I would always go out and eat. It wasn't the healthiest option, I won't lie to you, but I did get hungry so often from sitting at my desk. So I would usually order food or go out and eat. But since I finished everything after recording that day, I decided to go out and I decided to go and get some food. As I went out, I remember I lived near a McDonald's and I decided to head down to the McDonald's and basically go get something to eat. And when I was there, I remember I was just basically sitting there getting my average order. And then out of nowhere, I remember I ended up getting a text message from the concierge that used to be in charge of my building. I lived in an apartment before. I don't know if you guys remember in the older videos when I lived there, but basically I remember the concierge ended up texting me and he said, "Yo, Bubba, bro, there's like a bunch of cops outside and they're all looking for you." I ended up telling him what, like that makes no sense. And at that moment, I thought someone swatted me. If you guys don't know what swatting is, it's basically when your address as a creator gets leaked and people start sending cops to your house. It is actually something very illegal that no one should be doing because it wastes the cops' time and it wastes the creator's time and pain. And it is a very scary thing. It's happened to so many people I know, so please just don't do this. But going on with the story, I remember cops ended up actually being around my house and I decided not to go home because I thought maybe, I might get arrested for something that was for no reason. So I ended up kind of running away from the cops, which is also not a good idea to do. And officers, I know you're watching this video right now. It wasn't my intention to run away from you guys. It's just I was too scared because this was like, something that wouldn't happen naturally. Going on with the story, I remember I ended up basically going to my parents' house because my parents didn't live far from me. And when I got there, I remember I ended up going inside their house and I started sitting down with them, telling them how, this whole thing was happening. My mom looked at me and said, "Maybe you just ended up getting swatted again. Don't worry. It shouldn't be a big deal." Mom, no, like they were at my house. Like, why would they be there? "Bubba, don't worry. My opinion, go back home. Nothing bad will happen." I remember at that moment, I ended up actually deciding to go back home because I had so much other things to do and I had to edit some videos. So I remember as I started leaving to go back to my house, right as I went out the front door of my parents' place, I see 3 cops roll up and instantly one of them comes out and says, "Are you BabaStreams?" "Yeah, I'm Bubba. What's up?" Yeah, you're gonna have to come with us." "Am I in trouble or something?" We just need to talk to you." I ended up getting actually arrested and taken to the police station. Now, this is not the first time I've been to the police station. If you guys don't know, I've been arrested before. So this was nothing new to me and I wasn't as scared once I actually got the cuffs on me. And I remember as I was sitting in the back of the police car, I started asking questions to the cop that was driving me. I sat there and I'm like, "Hey, like I have a question. Am I like in trouble? Like did someone call? Was it like a SWAT thing? Because you called me by my username online." The cop looks it over and says, "Yeah, we have a couple questions about your content actually." "My content?" is what I questioned. And I remember basically I ended up going over to the police station and when I sat down in an interrogation room, instantly a girl walks in that I one time did the Devil's Tango with, and another person walks in, which was her lawyer. And then instantly they both sat down in front of me and the lawyer ended up saying, "Bubba, do you know who I'm with today?" Yeah. I remember we actually, used to, do the Devil's Tango back in high school. "Wait, why?" "Well, she saw a video online that you posted and apparently it's about her. Is this true?" I ended up looking all nervous because I'm not going to lie to you guys, on this channel, I did recognize her. And the story that I did was about her on this channel. I'm not going to say which one because obviously I don't want to get into any more legal trouble. But yeah, like I did know who this was and I did post a story about her. So I look over at him and I say, the story wasn't exactly about her, but I mean, yeah, we had a similar experience. I tried to play it off as much as I could so I could make sure that this lawyer was not going to be on my butt. But then afterwards, I remember this girl ended up looking at me saying, "Bubba, what do you mean? The story is exactly about us. You literally ended up saying my hair color and everything. Like you literally described me. How else would people not know it's me?" I think the only thing I said in that video was that she was blonde. And apparently to this girl's eyes, she was the only blonde person in the world, which makes no sense whatsoever what she was claiming. But at the same time, she was a girl and she was crazy. So fair enough. I remember I looked at her and I said, "Well, yeah, but no one knows it's you." And that's when she pulled out her phone and she started showing messages about how people were messaging her saying, hey, the story is about you. At this point, I was confused because I did not say her name, nothing. I usually never say names on the channel, and I found this odd. So I ended up looking at her saying, wait, so like, how did they know it's you? You tell me, Baba. And at this point, I was confused. Did people really decide to find out who the girl was? Did people really find out, like, through my social media, the girl that I did it with was? At this point, I was really confused and I did not understand what was going on. So what I decided to do was do some research for myself. I remember after that whole conversation, both the girl and the lawyer ended up getting up and leaving, and a cop went and sat down in front of me. He ended up telling me how social media is a dangerous place and how I shouldn't be, you know, telling people what happens in my life, which, to be fair, that's all social media is, about talking about your own life. So I remember what I decided to do is I looked over at the officer and said, listen, officer, my content, I'm just telling stories about my life and telling them how, you know, they should not be like me. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. I'm not trying to teach anyone bad things. The cop ended up basically chuckling and ended up getting up and leaving. And at that moment, before he left, I looked at him and said, officer, can I get one phone call? Just one. He ended up saying sure, and actually ended up getting a phone call, and I ended up calling, actually, funny enough, my lawyer. If you guys don't know, on this channel, I do have a lawyer. I do have a person that, you know, makes sure that I'm not going overboard with any of the content I tell. Yeah, that's how extreme this channel has gotten so far. And I remember I ended up calling my lawyer and telling him what was going on, and he decided to show up to the police station right away. He ended up showing up to the police station. He asked me a bunch of questions, like how did people find out it was her? How do people, like, you know, do the research? Do you have any way your social media is connected to her? Did you say her name? Asking all the questions that were important. And all I told him was, I did not say her name. I did not say anything about her. The only thing I said was that she was blonde. I have no idea how people started finding her out. I remember from then, my lawyer was super confused, and me and him, we actually ended up going back to my house, the apartment, and we sat down, we started talking. He started saying like which video it was, and I showed him and all this stuff. And then afterwards, he ended up telling me to go to the comment section. Now, the comment section in this channel is very important. I always read your guys' comments all the time. I always look through them. I always read them and make sure that, you know, everything is good to you guys' liking. And as I was scrolling down, I remember I ended up seeing a comment, and when I was scrolling down the comments, I ended up seeing a comment that said, oh, like, I'm that girl. You told our story? And at that moment, I knew instantly how people found her out, because she made herself found out. She commented that the story was literally about her. So I got in trouble for this girl revealing herself on a story that was totally anonymous to her. At this point, I was so upset. I was so mad because this girl basically framed me or set me up. My lawyer ended up saying, take screenshots, you know, get ready for, you know, if anything could happen next. And I remember the next day, cops ended up coming back to my place. They came back to my place, and once again, they said, we needed to talk to you. And they ended up taking me back to the police station. When I got back to the police station, instead of taking me to the interrogation room, they actually took me to a room with a computer, and they pulled out this computer, which was a kind of a laptop, and they basically made me open my channel and started watching my videos with me. They watched a bunch of stories about me doing the Devil's Tango, and basically they started asking me questions like, is this real? And every single time when they asked me, is the story real, I said yes. At this point, cops were really surprised about how much I've done in my life, even though at that time I was only 21, and they ended up saying, we understand what happened, and we are going to be watching your videos very clearly. Since you are technically a celebrity, we're not going to do anything with your channel. We're not going to get you in trouble, but what we are going to say is that you need to be more careful on the internet. So we will be watching you very closely. Great. That means I have cops watching my videos. Can you guys at least subscribe? I didn't know what to say at that point. I was really annoyed, and honestly, I was really angry, because who wants cops watching their videos? Like, I'm like basically on watch all the time. So officer, if you're watching this video, quit being weird, bro. Seriously, just let me tell my stories. But other than that, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.